Alright, welcome to the Third Strike Primer for Urien. As you can see by his move list here that he is a charge character. If you need to reference this later in the video, it will be at the front of the video, of course. You can just skip back and check it out. The super that Urien is always going to use is super number 3. That's his most powerful one and one of the most powerful supers in the game. Let's get into his normals. So, jab, typical jab, medium punch, good when it's standing, not that great when it's crouching, so don't use the crouching version unless it's for some type of specific, unblockable setup, which, by the way, we are not going to get into unblockables in this video. I'm going to talk about Aegis a lot, but we're not going to get into unblockables. If you're starting out with Urien and Third Strike in general, I don't want you to get caught up with unblockables and charge partitioning and stuff like that. People that focus on that when they start out with Urien tend to have a really weak Urien. They may be able to finally learn their unblockable, but they don't know how to set it up. They don't know how to get characters in to those positions. So it's really that's end game stuff that you really don't even need to win with Urien until you get to a higher level of competitors. Standing Fierce, great normal also. Crouching Fierce is his launcher, you see there. Forward and Fierce is this overhead. Good little overhead, nice little damage when they are crouching. They take a little more damage, and that is also one of the normals you use when you have an Aegis on top of them to mix them up for a high-low. Of course, universal overhead and the overhead. But anyway, he has forward and medium punch, and then if you press Fierce right after that, he has a chain. Useful in matches, I guess, that against bigger characters like Hugo or maybe Alex, but typically never really needed to be used because his pokes are good in those matchups regardless. His short, meh, whatever. Used sometimes for like maybe comboing into a headbutt or starting up into, I don't know, a tackle like that or something. Nothing too crazy. Forward or medium kick, standing is whatever. It can be used as a counter poke, but not that great even on hit. So if you're going to use anything for poking, you should use crouching medium kick. It's this one right here. Good range. He's really low to the ground. It's hard for a lot of characters to punish this limb because it's quick. It's a good low forward. And then he has his roundhouse, which this one is good for escaping when someone's going to throw you when you're right next to each other. It brings his body just out of throw range and will hit them like that. It is an overhead, but characters like Ken, when this hits or whiffs or they block it, can reversal super you, so be wary of that. Same with this overhead. No matter how this overhead hits, if the Ken player has super, they can super you, they can punish you even when you hit, so be wary of that. Only do that against Ken players with no meter. His sweep, good long range sweep. Of course, if it's blocked, it can be punished. It should be used though because Urien does need knockdowns, and when he does get knockdowns, he's allowed to set up other things or get better position for what he actually wants to do. So let's look at his moves real quick. He has the shoulders, which is a back charge to forward kick. He has the fireballs, all angles. He has headbutts. Of course, he has the EX of all versions. Headbutt. The headbutt allows you to juggle them again. Oops. So remember, if you hit an EX headbutt, you can follow up after it. What else? There's the knee drop. Really don't use this damn knee drop other than setting up combos or positioning. Honestly, like, if it hits, like, that's great, but if it doesn't hit, you get punished. Like, there's enough time for the other person to punish you for whatever their max damage combo is. So this is garbage. Don't use this. You know, maybe if the other person on the other side of the screen, you're charging like this and you release this as they throw a Hadouken, fine. That's acceptable. I'll accept it. But other than that, I don't want to see that shit. And you probably won't either after someone blocks it and punishes you for a shitload of damage. So those are his basic moves. He has a really good throw. Not really much of a card throw, but his throw is really good, and it does pretty good damage for a throw. So that is one of Urien's strong points. Let's look at some of Urien's combos, just his basic ones. He can go from crouching jab to headbutt, light headbutt. He can go from crouching short to headbutt. He can go from standing strong to headbutt, even though the light whiffs. Most characters you're going to have to do an EX after the strong. And remember, after the EX you can follow up again. His down fierce into tackle. Medium tackle is what you do after that. You can do stuff like this. Oops. His jump in, if you don't have meter, would be something like this. You're using that standing medium punch into the tackle. You could do it with EX headbutt also, but that's a little more advanced. You're gonna need to know how to charge correctly for that. But yeah, those are his basic, just combos, not, you know, talking about involving the super. Now he has, oh yeah, he does have one more chain. It's strong. It's jab to strong. It's just a simple one. You do stuff like that. In the shoulder. Not too crazy or anything. So let's get into the general gameplay of Urien. Now, you can play Urien however you want, because, you know, Urien, when he does get an opening, he does huge damage with his juggles. Now, let's just for, you know, the sake of it, let's show when Urien does get, you know, an opening. In this case, it will be a up fireball. Now that one's just a simple, easy to do combo. After the up ball, they of course get hit. You can do a roundhouse tackle after, to an EX tackle, to another tackle, typically medium tackle, and then you get to hit them again. The fierce, you know, the great Urien players and their combo, their corner juggle combos with headbutt. That's going to be another bag of worms as far as partitioning and charging. So not going to get into that. It's only a little bit more damage, and it's for optimization. You can go, you know, you're just fine starting out, and even till a long time after you're starting out, just ending it with a fierce. It's still a decent amount of damage, but the ultimate optimization would be ending it with your juggle combos with that headbutt. You'll hear people say tackle headbutt, and tackle headbutt is the best meterless combo off of this right here. So I can't even do it. So it's tackle, then another tackle, and then they would hit him with a headbutt. Now that's possible. After a down fierce, you can go 2 tackles into a headbutt. So I haven't dedicated any time really into learning Urien's correct charges, so I can't do them. But if this is going to be your main, like, don't let that deter you. You can easily, if you like Urien, you can easily start learning that, and you'll learn that in no time, believe me. Just takes a little bit of practice and a little bit of time investment, a few days of getting your timings down and understanding how the partition and the charging works, and you'll be fine. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked there, but anyway, yeah, you can play Urien however you like. My personal experience and the hardest kind of Uriens for me to beat are the ones that are very defensive. They control space very well. They don't really go after me. They just kind of slowly control space. Maybe they'll try to push me to the corner with their pokes. When I try to advance at them, jump at them or something, they'll jump away, roundhouse or anti-air me. If I jump in empty jump, they'll do this. They'll do this into like shoulder, try to throw me off. They just kind of stand here. They don't let me move them backwards. They just kind of do really well holding their position and doing their best to antagonize and push you to the corner. They can throw shoulders out also, which is a threat. Of course, they have the firewall game, so they can control a lot of space if they're reading the other opponent correctly, especially if they smell a jump and Urien catches one of those. It's lights out for the other guy. And I showed you just the basic combo. Once there are other... Here, we'll just do this right here. Jump, jump, jump. So after you hit someone with the diagonal ball, there's multiple variations, of course, what you can do. I did the EX shoulder version. You can do things like this. Oh, Lord. And then they fall into the Aegis. This is just a very simple Aegis combo. And then they fall down and they get up into the Aegis, and at that point you would go high or low, whatever you're feeling. Try to mix them up. You can do multiple things after you hit enough ball. It's a very easy, simple one that does, uses no meter. But yeah, ultimately Urien can do about anything he wants after the up ball. It doesn't matter. But typically you're going to want to stick with shoulders. Oh, you went right through it. That's what I like. And then if you have meter after that, he's in the corner, and then you would throw the Aegis on top of them when they're getting up. So let's just look at this one right here. Okay, they're getting up, and then you would go high or low. And that was a no risk, high or low attempt on your part, because the Aegis was there. If it hits, you go into your down fierce, and then whatever combo you know or can do. If you're close to another Aegis, I would just do your simple combo like that, and then put out another Aegis, and then do the same thing again. One thing to note, if someone's parrying the Aegis, you can always just throw them. They're stuck in the throw animation, and you can just automatically throw them if they're parrying. If they're parrying the Aegis and you stick out this, they might parry that too. If they're parrying high, then go low. You know, if they're parrying low, then maybe go high. The jumping roundhouse. The jumping roundhouse is very good. We'll talk about jumping right now for Urien, and then I'll get into even more Urien strategy. I know I'm kind of all over the place, but this is just kind of how I think. So, the jumping roundhouse. It's a very, very good jumping roundhouse, and the reason that is because you see how I can go like that and it still comes out. If someone were to parry that, they would have an insanely hard time punishing that. Even Chun-Li, when she parries that and the Urien player jumps in and does that roundhouse late enough and correct, it's hard for her to low forward to super it, even when she parries it. So take note of that. If you time your jumping roundhouse well enough, it's very hard for the other character to punish. Not only because of the range, but because he can make it hit them very low to the ground. Jumping. Okay, so jumping neutral roundhouse is very good. Medium punch you would use if the character is already like above you. You want to use medium punch. If the character is grounded, you want to use roundhouse. If you're jumping away, you want to use roundhouse. You know, maybe fierce, but roundhouse or medium punch. If you're chasing someone down and they're in front of you and they jump away, you can catch them with medium punch. Medium punch kind of, it's the old handshake. Will go forward and hit them. My NG Mark, my old roommate, used to do that a lot. I want to talk about Urien, but I don't want to get super complex. Okay, to show you a knockdown, I mean an unblockable, and well, let's just keep it right here. Okay, so if you throw someone and you see how Ryu rolled, he did a quick get up right there. That will get him out of the unblockable that people get off a throw. If he rolls out, he cannot be unblockable right there. But if he doesn't roll out, you can do that. And I just messed that up, but you can see when he doesn't roll, you can cross him over. So, you know, you can do that unblockable off of a throw against people that aren't tech rolling. If they're not doing the quick get up, you know, try it, do it, and punish them for being lazy and not doing that. And then once they start to tech roll, stop doing that. But yeah, let's talk about the specific Uriens that I probably already started talking about this, but let's talk about the Uriens that are, personally in my opinion, the hardest to beat. And it may be because of my characters, but I guarantee you this style is very strong against almost all characters, because Urien supers so well. Now, a very defensive Urien, like I was talking about, that keeps their ground and pokes and just keeps space and controls kind of the tempo of the match, is building meter that whole time. Remember, in Third Strike, by whiffing normals and just kind of keeping your distance and zoning, you're building meter. So you're building meter this whole time while kind of controlling the tempo and the spacing of the match. And that's when things get, you know, you start to get meter, and that's when characters are starting to be forced to do something, because they don't want to be in the corner and have to deal with Aegis. You know, you can get something as simple as a sweep, and you can throw out that Aegis, and then they're stuck there, and you're free to go like high-low, mixing them up. You know, that's very basic, but you understand the concept of, you know, even though he threw that Aegis out, and it wasn't like into a combo or anything, they're forced to sit there, and you get a free attack on them. You know, you get to high-low mix them up for free, for basically no risk. And because Urien can do big damage in the corner easily, obviously you see, you know, what the threat is of him being able to high-low mix you up after he throws an Aegis on top of you and then combo after. So, you know, you're using your normals, you're poking and building meter. You know, anytime they try to advance or make a move on you is your time to punish them. If they jump, you can try to catch them with that. If they jump, you can anti-air them with that, possibly. If they're dashing at you and you're just sitting here poking away, you can see if you're doing this low forward and poking, you always have your down or back charge. So if they slip up and, like, let's say Ryu whiffed a low sweep right there, you could punish them with an EX if you felt like using the meter. If they dash at you and you're like poking here, you can always release that EX headbutt and on reaction to their dash and go from there. So Urien really doesn't have to commit because he can just hold his ground and build meter. And the more meter he's building, the more likely it is for him to win, and the more chances you get to throw an Aegis on top of them, and you get to do a free high-low mix-up. And just advice for people against Urien: the way you block Urien's Aegis in the corner is like this. So the Urien will throw you, let's just say, and put the Aegis on top of you, and he's going to high-low mix you up. So the general rule for this, and in general this works a lot in other fighting games, is always just you know, brain dead, dumbfounded, dumb idiot, derp block low, and only focus on them if they go high. So you're just like robot, not even paying attention, blocking low, and you're only looking for them going high. If they go low, you don't even have to worry about it. You're already there. You're not even paying attention to that. You're only looking at things that are going to hit you high. And at that point, you would stand up and try to react to it. And then once you've blocked the Aegis, you can go back to playing normally. I should mention that, like, let's say, like, you can see right here is the corner, right? So Urien is right here. They're mid screen as far as in the level. If he gets one of these off and cancels the Aegis, he can carry them all the way to the wall. You can't do that, carry them all the way to the wall without an EX, but with the normal ones. As you can see, I don't get my charge fast enough to juggle them again, to do the shoulder again, if I don't cancel to the Aegis. But if you cancel the Aegis, you have plenty of time. So keep note of that. So let's say you know, you were holding your space and ground, and you got the opponent to the corner, and this is the position you're in. You can always throw out a random tackle, and if it hits, go into Aegis and keep comboing them. You know, so shoulder into Aegis to another shoulder to your launcher, which is down Fierce, to shoulder to just Fierce, and that's like the basic simple thing you can do if you hit a tackle in the corner. If they block the tackle and you cancel Aegis, it makes it safe. And if they're in the corner, you should cancel the Aegis anyway if they block it, because then they gotta block it, and then you get to high-low mix them up. You know, if the opponent is, if you're kind of worried about them jumping back, let's say, and the shoulder whiffing, and then punish you on the way down, because you can't cancel into Aegis if the shoulder whiffs, of course. So you would do something like this, like cover your bases. You would throw the high fireball into the Aegis, and then you're here, and then you'll get to close the distance. So, you know, something like Fierce Aegis, and for them to get out, they would have to like jump parry that ball, but you can always jump and hit them or wait for them, and then down Fierce them after they come down after parrying the ball. Sometimes they don't even get they jump and they miss the parry of the ball. You just jump and hit them back into the Aegis. You know, if the player is unable to escape like that, or you know, they feel more comfortable on the ground, then great, they get to block the Aegis, and then you get to move in and do your thing. So when Urien has the other person in the corner and they're getting up, he has a few options when he's right here. He has a few options if he doesn't have Aegis. If he has Aegis and you're getting up, you better throw that damn Aegis up and high-low mix them up. So let's talk about Urien when he doesn't have any meter in the characters in the corner. You at this range, you still have your really good Furious, your low forward and standing strong. At this range, the overhead still hits. If you watch the other videos of how I was talking about how to bait throws, how you always walk into their throw range and throw them, and Urien throws a lot of people. He should be throwing people a lot if he doesn't have a meter. You walk right into their throw range and then walk half a step out of their throw range, and they whiff the throw, and you can down pierce them and do your combo. So that's one of the ways to open people up, is by throwing them a lot. And because Urien's throw does a lot of damage and gives a meter, and he just gets to set you up again, throwing people with Urien is even better with Urien than opposed to, like, let's say a Buki maybe. But that's how you can open people up, get them to whiff throws. You know, let's say you're farther out and you're right here, and the other guy has super, and you really don't want to like dash up and throw them, even though you should do that sometimes to keep the person on their toes. You should dash up and throw them. Like, let's say you're poking, and they're not really poking anything back out because they don't want to deal with Urien's good normals. So you know, they're just blocking. Urien has a very fast forward dash, so you know, every once in a while walk up and throw their ass. Also, his taunt is pretty badass. If you're close to them and press taunt, they fall over, so pretty cool taunt. You can hold your charge while jumping in third strike. If you're doing a normal jump, it's going to require partitioning, but if you do a super jump, you don't require any partitioning at all. You can just hold the charge the whole time, and it will be done by the time you hit the ground if you do a super jump. Same goes with you know, the charge, except you don't even like if you're jumping back, you don't even need to super jump because you can, as you can see, I'm holding back already before I'm even in the air. But yeah, if you were to jump in and do an EX headbutt, that's not even that bad of an option because they're not going to be throwing that you know, it will go right through the throw and hit them. It has pretty fast startup. If they do for some reason hit you, you'll just reset out. You won't stay grounded, so you'll just flip out and land on the ground, and you can block again. So one more thing about how I was talking about how Urien should be throwing them a lot. Urien should be throwing the other person a lot, but you know, the other person's eventually going to catch on. So, you know, let's say you have 3 times where you will be grabbing. Let's say jumping, you do like jumping roundhouse and they block it, and you walk half a step. Here, I'll put it on block just so you can see what I'm talking about. Oh god, not all random. So, jump in, they block it, walk forward half a step, throw them. Let's say that's one. Another one is just that surprise dash throw. And let's say one is they're advancing on you, and let's say they do low short, and a lot of players after they do a low short is like a tick throw setup. So they do low short, and then right after that they go into the throw. So you block the low short and then press roundhouse, and that will pull you out of the throw range, and they'll get hit by the roundhouse. Now the same thing for that jump in. You hit that jump in, you walk forward half a step, and because you threw them all the other times when you did that, you can mix it up with that. Same with a dash forward and doing that. Now, once you get better at controlling your positioning and spacing, you would switch out this for this. This is harder to do, and it's more risky if you mess up, but it's way more damage. So you would do something like that, then walk into that half step, and then walk half step back, and then they would hopefully, typically be throwing you, because like I said, you've been throwing them a lot because that's what you need to do. And then when they throw, you would punish them, their whiffed throw, with that, and go into your big combo. I'll leave you with just the basic, a very basic Urien combo, just to see what he can accomplish without even mastering a lot of his charge partitioning and stuff like that. So you can see how much damage that did, and that typically can happen. That's not something that doesn't happen in a Urien match. After a Urien hits a combo in the corner and throws Aegis on top of them, it's very likely for you to get another combo by going high or low and then going again. And as you can see, I didn't even do the optimized combos, and you can see I'm already close to another Aegis. After a few more pokes, or if I did a better combo, I would have another Aegis, and I would be able to do it again. So you can see how much, once Urien gets his meter and gets the other person in the right spot, he's scary. He's scary to deal with. So yeah, that's about it. I'm going to put a few videos in the description for different Urien combos, just so you can see more about what he can do with the Aegis. I didn't go in too much into the Aegis here because I didn't want to. It's once you get a little more familiar with how to control and use Urien as far as his normals, and how to not just get your ass beat. It doesn't matter if you can do all the combos in the book if you're not able to stay alive and control the tempo of the match so you can build meter. It doesn't matter if you can do 1,000 unblockables if the other person is just beating you on fundamentals. But Urien is great because even with a sliver of life, if he does get a parry or does get an opening and he has meter, he could kill the other character. So very scary character when he has meter. But that's about it, guys. I don't know, you'll probably see more videos on the Cross Counter channel too. If you haven't seen the Makoto one that I put out that they released on that channel, go ahead and check it out. A few more will be released there, and probably the rest will be released on my channel also. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and all that. You guys are the best, and I'll see you later.